For the average person who's just came into Bitcoin now with Trump and the strategic Bitcoin reserve and all of that talk, what would you say the biggest thing they'll probably be shocked about over the coming year would be?
How fast the world that they thought they lived in is disintegrating, and how that chaos is going to expand and ripple across. It's just going to be, if you're not expecting, if you don't realize how much debt is underlying and how insolvent it is, and if you think Elon's going to save you because he's ripping out wasted bureaucracy, that wasted bureaucracy today is also, they all have jobs, they all spend, they all buy houses, they all buy food, they all spend in the economy, is part of the GDP. When you rip it out, you cause a deflationary collapse faster. So this is so there's so many people right now that cheering for one side or the other, without the realization that underneath the whole thing, underneath the entire thing, needs to be so much printing that is just centralizing more. Because I'm fascinated by how many people are taking a side within this, and not understanding the implications of their side within this.
Yeah.
So and then talking about Europe, or talking about Iran, or talking about Israel, or talking about, of course, the entire system looks like it's based on corruption. Of course it does, because it's based on manipulation of your time and energy. And the things you're doing in that, the things you're going to do that is going to give away your power into the centralization. And it has to go back to AI. The rate of improvement of AI, it will never be this slow again. It will never, say that again and again and again. It will never be this dumb again. It'll never be this slow again.
Yeah.
Never. It is going to go at a rate that your brain cannot comprehend. And you will, and if you don't use it, other businesses are going to use it to provide more value. And it's going to remove labor at a staggering rate.
So either move to something that cannot be replaced, physical services, or get with the program and jump on
it's even physical services inside that. So if you lived in a control structure, if all of your stuff was inside that control structure, and you had cameras everywhere and monitoring, and you were driving an electric car that was going to, they could turn off, and you were in a bank account, and you had gold, but you were in a bank account that could be turned off anytime. If you understood how much of your stuff is tracked right now inside this system, and you think it isn't, all of these connected systems are all part of that centralized control. You are inside of that. You're in the matrix, centralizing with everything you're doing. There isn't a thing that is safe within that system. It's a system change. And Bitcoin is repricing that. It's outside, because you can self-custody this. You can take this off and you can store the words in your head. You don't have to trust that system. It's immune from everything I just said. So now just ask yourself, where am I spending my time, and what does that look like? There is no safety. There's what people say, I got guns, I have a ranch land. Think of what I'm saying. think about robotic dogs, drone swarms, all AI things. Where are you safe in a centralized system that takes all of its control through manipulated money? What is safe? Good luck, right? Help build the other system, because that's what frees you.
One thing I like about is this force functioning, where really, if you really study like the difference of a poor, middle class, or a wealthy person, and really I should say the mindset of that person, you sort of have the poor mindset, mentality, or even a middle class. They basically work to live, work to pay their bills. So they earn to spend money on their house and their car and their lifestyle. They'll typically use credit to buy things they can't afford or to increase their lifestyle. Whereas like a wealthy person is earning money not to live, they earn money to buy assets, and then the assets pay for them to live. And they don't use credit because they can't afford things. They use credit because it's cheaper to use somebody else's money than their own.
Yeah.
And so Bitcoin would almost force that function, whereas to the point you were making about borrowing in Bitcoin to pay for the house, but it's harder and harder to pay back the loan, it would almost like you'd earn and put it into Bitcoin, and then
So,
borrow
so
against the Bitcoin to buy the house.
yeah. So
It forces you into the correct form, which is buy to earn the assets and have the assets pay for the life.
yeah.
Right.
And think about that asset being repriced. So what we're talking about. So all of the people that are pricing those assets way too high in fiat terms because it's worked for the last 40, 50 years.
Right.
They believe that their house is the house and the real estate asset and all of even though the taxes are going up and up on them, because other people are paying those rents, they believe it's a safe store of value. And that safe store of value, and they keep on doing it, levering more and more to it. When we just described for the person, the person working for wages and moving those wages into Bitcoin is repricing them.
Right.
Right. That's it. That's what's happening. So it's really interesting, and that repricing can happen in Africa, Argentina, Peru. It can happen anywhere for anybody who wants to do that. So what's happening today is, you and I've talked a lot about this. The risk-free rate of return is like 43%, right? If you're self-custodying, and if you're making 7 or 8 in real estate, you're losing 35% a year to Bitcoin, but you think you're winning because other people are losing faster than you.
Yeah. Yeah, and to put it to numbers, I mean, the median U.S. home price in 2016 was like $260,000. Today, it's about $460,000. So it's almost doubled in that time period. But it's gone from a roughly 20 Bitcoin down to about 4 Bitcoin.
Yeah.
In that same time period.
So it's describing that process. You said it before. It's describing that process that is happening when people are asking, when is this going to happen?
It's happening.
Yeah, it's happening. It keeps happening. It will continue to happen.
The one thing I will just throw out there, just because I'm an old real estate guy, I can't let it go. In America, it's a little bit different. 30-year fixed mortgages, but more importantly, it's the tax treatment that we get. So Trump in his first term, and now it just got reinstated, gives us like bonus depreciation, and we get like short-term rental exclusions and things like that. So somebody with a W-2 income, with earned income, could get up to 100% write-off of an asset. So I could put 10% down on I could put $10,000 down on a $100,000 home and write off $100,000 of my income and have an extra $90,000 to buy Bitcoin with. And then I could have inflation debt destruction. I could have tenants paying down. So that's a little bit more of an advanced strategy, but
I think that's actually really important to call out too, because in all of these things, there's going to be tax strategies that you can take and play a system differently, and I think that's important too, mind you, and which plays into what I think will happen in Bitcoin. Governments and states are going to lower capital gains taxes and try to make this, because they're going to try to attract the capital that is in this.
So, like, you get better tax treatment if you keep it in an ETF than if you custody it yourself or something like that.
Yeah, well, I hope that's not the case, but they might try to do that.
Yeah.
But just if what El Salvador did, and you've been a number of times, I've been a number of times, the change is dramatic from opening up a free market and being Bitcoin positive. The tourism, the change is so dramatic.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be repeated, and other countries are going to compete against that.
Yeah.